Let's start. Welcome to this webinar. I am Pierrick Martel, in charge of product marketing at Centrion. I'm here with three product managers, Laurent Pincivy, Niels Magnez, and Olivier Mercier, who will all present today in a different order, I think. So let's look at the agenda. This is about 21.10. We will look at the platform itself, when we are deploying the Centrion platform and its explorer. Then we look at configuring the monitoring, and then we look at using it and using the user interface. So this is Laurent first, then Olivier, and then Niels. And at the end of this presentation, about half an hour, we'll have a Q&A session. So you can ask your questions on the right-hand side, I think. Please ask your questions all along our presentation. We will answer them at the end. So we'll take them, one by one. I will read the question, and my colleagues here will try to answer them. These questions may be about the subjects we are presenting, but you're allowed to ask other questions while we are here. It's your opportunity to do so. Before we actually start, Niels wanted to talk about a very hot subject in IT this week, which is a security update about the Log4j that we've all heard about. So Niels, I'll let you explain on the next slide. Let me move forward. Here.
Yeah. So as I'm sure you've all heard about, there was a huge security breach that was discovered in Log4j library, so the very famous Java logging library. I think it was revealed last weekend. So the CVSS score is very high. It's 10 out of 10. So it's really a bad security breach, and because it's allow an attacker to execute arbitrary code on your platform if you're using Java. So it's really bad. So what is the impact on Centrion product? So we have mainly three components, not mainly, but we have exactly three components using Java. We have MAP, MBI, and AS400 connector, which are using Java and can be impacted quite differently. So none of them, well, there is absolutely no risk for you using Centrion product for the following reason. First, for MAP, we are using a 2.13 version of the library, but we do not use it directly. We are going through Spring Boot for logging. So, but there are still some really exotic configuration when you would add Log4j in your class path and do stuff like this, where you could be exposed. So we will rebuild a new version of MAP. I think it's ongoing. In order for you, if you have really this very exotic configuration, or if you have modified the configuration, which should not be the case actually, to prevent you to use those faulty library. And for MBI and AS400, they are both using 1.x version of Log4j, which is not impacted by the bug, except if we are using the GMS appender, which is not the case. So we do not use this option. So there is no exposure to the risk, neither for MAP, neither for MBI and AS40. Still, we will rebuild a new version of those. Well, just to be really safe. And if you have modified the configuration and stuff like this, that you are not going into the problem. If you want more info, because I was quite brief, you have more info on our platform, The Watch. There is a dedicated topic for that, where we make updates and where we will update when we have new binary available.
All right. So a security breach is always bad news, but the good news is that your platform is safe, even if you are doing MAP, MBI, or this connector. But to be even safer, we will release updated versions quite soon. Just to be totally sure. No, you're mentioning The Watch. Actually, before we start again on the 21.10 webinar. The Watch is the name of our new online community platform for all Centrion users. That was launched on November the 18th. If you follow our social media, you've probably seen about it. So it's called The Watch. The URL is thewatch.centrion.com. There you will find forums where you can ask your questions. We will publish product news, including on security breaches and things like that. There is a knowledge base with articles and something about beta programs that we will discuss later. Let me just share my screen. Let me do that quickly. Screen share like that, I think. This is thewatch.centrion.com. So this is the homepage. It's a typical, I guess, online community platform where there is forums and typically, product forums, the platform forum for all subjects about deploying. And this is where we talk about this Log4Shell. There is, forums about data collection, data usage, how to contribute, and other topics. And this is where you can ask questions and people will answer your questions. There is a knowledge base with a lot of how-to tutorials and other things. Product updates. For example, this week, there is a product update mentioning the list of new plugin packs that was released this week here. This is also on the blog post, or you could find the 20.10 release note that will actually go to the documentation, online documentation. And then there are, other things like groups, and we will discuss that later, and we will create events. So I think it's a good habit for everybody to connect to the watch. It's a simple login and password, and don't hesitate to ask questions, contribute, or maybe answer questions to your fellow Centrion users. All right. Let me stop sharing my screen and go back to the presentation. Now, let's start actually webinar on 21.10, which is a new release. It was launched on November the 4th. There was a beta version the previous weeks. It's available for all editions, open source or IT edition, business edition, MSP edition, and that includes IT 100, which is the free version of IT edition. And you may download it as usual on download.centrion.com, or the release notes are on The Watch, or they are on the docs.centrion.com. First subject is Laurent. You want to walk through, any changes on how to deploy Centrion. I will let you.
Yes, thank you, Pierrick. Hi, everybody. So let's discuss about Centrion platform. So just remember, so since 1 year ago, we deliver Enterprise Linux package in version 7 and 8. So we still continue to deliver this both version as RPM packages, of course, for all edition. We still continue to try to maintain an installation of an open source platform for all Linux operating systems. And I would like to focus on major dependencies updates. First, we used to update PHP to version 8 because version 7.4 have an end of life in this month, December. So we used to update and we used to update the Apache configuration. For both, don't worry, we used to update documentation. So if you want to upgrade your platform to the latest version, you can go to docs.centrion.com and you have a chapter upgrade. So you can select from which version of Centrion you want to start your upgrade. And in this documentation, you have a chapter to explain you how to install repository to install PHP 8.0. For Apache configuration is the same. During the process of upgrade, you have a subchapter explain you how to make the difference between a previous configuration and the new configuration, and explain you to apply changes in your configuration. If you don't change default configuration when you will upgrade Centrion, it will the packages will apply directly the new configuration. But if you use to personalize your configuration, you have to make the difference and apply changes. And the most specific changes is about a new route authentication. in a location match. So just follow instruction and procedure from documentation, and everything will be okay if you upgrade to the latest version. Okay, let's continue with the second point. Second point is about authentication. So we used to improve OpenID Connect or IDC authentication. We are now compatible with Okta and Microsoft Azure AD or IDFS. To be compatible with this both identity provider, we used to perform some improvement. For example, you can now choose which value from IDP will be used as to log the user. You can define a complete URL for some endpoint, especially for Microsoft Azure. You can choose authentication method. Now you have a client secret basic. If you don't define a redirect URL, so redirect URL is when you Centrion access forward you to the identity provider and you finish your authentication, the identity provider will forward you to the redirect URL, so Centrion. And if you don't define this value, Centrion, of course, will build by itself this URL to forward this to the IDP. And to make your first configuration, we improve the debug. So if you enable authentication debug into Centrion, you will have error and debug logs into var log, Centrion logging point log. So this will help you to configure correctly your OpenID Connect parameters. And of course, we improve documentation to give you a basic example of configuration. So made screenshots about documentation, and you can see that you have a proposition for Microsoft Azure, for Okta, Keycloak, or Lemonade Lab. So it will explain you what is the basic configuration and explain you a notice the value you have to change to complete your configuration.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, so all of these are all based on OpenID Connect,
Yes.
but there are various parameters.
Exactly. The documentation explains that we are compatible with most IDP using OpenID Connect if the method authorization code grant is available.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's continue.
Okay. Last part is about Debian packages. So we start a few weeks ago a beta program to deliver Centrion on Debian 11. So this program is available on the watch. So if you go to the watch, you have a group, a public beta group. So you can go and you have explanation how to start the program, how to install Debian packages for the porter. Currently, it's only a community support on the watch. We used to deliver a few weeks ago porter components, so Centrion Engine, Gorgon, plugins as Debian packages. We are working on central server packages, so it will arrive soon. And in the future, we will deliver a beta version of Centrion IT editions and business edition. So do not hesitate to go to the watch and to participate to this program to help us to improve our packages. So this is exactly the Debian group on the watch. So you have documentation to explain you how to install a porter. So if you can help us, it will be really good.
All right. And I use this opportunity to answer maybe one question here. Matteo is asking, what about the Slack channels? Will we close them? No.
No, we will continue to have Slack, but for long discussion or for discussion about new idea, new feature, it will be really good to go to the watch. If you want to have a short discussion, you can use Slack, but Slack, we don't have a history of the channel. So if you want to keep a history, if you want to have answer, if you want to for the future to search an answer of a question, it will be really good to use the watch.
Yeah, it's a much more broader platform with much more capabilities, and you get all the history of questions answered in the past, plus groups, specific groups like this Debian beta program support. All right.
And now we like to talk about for the future. So I used to explain to you that we used to improve OpenID Connect. So for the future, we want to reinforce the authentication. So currently we are working on the possibility to define a password policy for local accounts. For example, minimum size of the password, the length of the password, how many cases, if there is a failure of authentication, after how many failure I can block the user for how many times. So we are improving authentication, local authentication. We will limit for security reason auto login. We will remove this possibility for administrator accounts because the issue is the token for the connection in the URL. So if someone man in the middle is listening on the network, he can get this value and connect with your account. We will add a new possibility for OIDC. So we will add the possibility to auto import a new user and to apply authorization. So on items from for information from the IDP to apply Centrion ACL, Centrion profile. We will also improve the LDAP protocol to try to reduce queries and to improve it. And of course, we will keep WebSSO functionality. And as I explained you, we want to deliver Centrion Business Edition, IT Edition, Open Source, MSP Edition for the first half of next year with Centrion Professional Support. And another information, we are working on to improve the Centrion update process, or to update from a minor version to another one. We want to improve this to remove the wizard, and so we are working on it.
All right, good. I think we're done on your part.
Yes.
So don't hesitate to ask questions that we will answer. I can see a few questions here that we will answer at the end, of this webinar. Next topic. This is Olivier. Olivier has a sore throat. This is the end of the day here in Paris. We are hoping he still has a little bit of voice so that we can hear him.
I hope so. Hi, everyone. So what's new in 21.10? First, minor improvement in plugin pack management UX. Those who have been using the plugin packs for years know that when you have a major upgrade, you have a lot of plugin packs to upgrade, and you need to update them manually one after one. So we added a small improvement to the interface. Now you can update them all. You can see there you have tens of plugin packs, and with only one click on the update all button, and all the plugin packs have been updated. So it's quite simple,
but useful.
Then we have done some changes in the Polar management interface. First, we have transformed the actions menu from a drop-down menu to only buttons. And to avoid mismanipulation that has happened to not a lot of people, but too many. Some users have by mistake deleted polars instead of exporting their configuration.
Oops.
So to try and avoid this issue, we have changed the way the buttons are displayed by adding a color signal and an icon that displays what is about to be done. So it should avoid some mistakes. And the second part of the Polar management improvement is about exporting the configuration. I'm sorry, the animated GIF that is displayed here does not animate, so you cannot see the animation. But you all know that when you have performed changes on your configuration on hosts or services, you need to export the configuration to your pollers, and that it requires quite a lot of clicks to get there. So what we've done is add an additional button in the drop-down menu, the Poller drop-down menu at the interface, to export in 3 clicks only. Let's say one to open the menu and one to click on export configuration, and then one in the dialog to confirm that you want to export the configuration, and then you're done. You will see demonstration of it in the next minutes.
So this is the menu at the top counter level on the left-hand side.
But you will see it in a video capture that we will see later. Then a major improvement in host discovery. Before the 21.10 version, the discovery could retrieve only string attributes, or at least you could only manipulate strings in your discovery mappers. But now, since 21.10, you can manipulate arrays of objects or arrays of strings, and well, presented this way, it may be quite cryptic. So we will have I will show you a demonstration, a use case. It can these advanced attributes can be used in conditions for every kind of discovery mappers. They can be used also to name host groups, host categories, and field macros. Identified use cases for now are cloud tags. You can find them in Azure, in AWS, as well as Google Cloud, and also in Nmap discovery. Sorry. So let's see a little use case of it. So here I'm showing you the tags that are attached to a QA virtual machine of ours. You can see the owner is QA, the purpose is test VM, and it's scheduled on the French office hours. What I'm going to do in the demonstration is exclude the instances that do not belong to the owner named QA, and then I'm going to gather the instances discovered in host groups based on the purpose that is filled in the tags. So I could not upload in a time my video, so I will have to show you by sharing my screen.
Oh, so let's do a real demo. Live
No,
demo.
no. It's still a capture, but it's not in the.
I see.
It's not in the Bizabo. So here we have only one host monitored, which is Centreon. Then I have already configured my discovery jobs. This one has discovered many hosts in Azure. I will change first. I will change the mappers. You can see here the tags. I will change the mappers to exclude all the hosts that don't belong to QA. So I click on Add Mapper. I choose an exclusion mapper. And then as source, I will take the tags. And here I can get the key that is equal to owner. And I want to exclude if the owner is different from QA. So I write here QA. Then I save my mapper. I refresh the list and I see some instances have been wiped out. Now I'm going to create the host groups according to the purpose of the instance. So I create a new host group. So the host group does not exist yet. I look for the key named purpose and I get the value and I use it as a host group name. Then I save it. I import the hosts that have been discovered. And then I go in the configuration of hosts to see them. Okay, you see them here. And now let's see how I export the configuration. The old way is to go to the configure pollers menu, select the poller, export configuration. Okay, you know how it works and it's too long. So now I go to my profile, I check the box, I save, and then I get the new button. It is only for administrators for now. And it's done. So you can see the new hosts in resource status.
All right.
You are. I hope you will enjoy this new feature.
Yeah. So two features here, all these mappers being able to map the tags that have been received, and this little feature to export directly from the little button on top of the left there. And you have to be admin to access this
To
button,
enable it for now. For the
and you have
moment,
to
yes.
enable it from your profile, user profile. All right. Well, thank you, Olivier, for joining us today. Although you were, quite in a bad shape. Thank you. I know you can probably go to bed and
Not
rest
yet.
for the next 2 days. The next and last topic, this is for Niels to talk about data visualization. I'll let you.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to share my screen as well.
So the big topic here is about the user interface, the resource status user interface, and you will demo it and demo what's new and what's important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is about legacy pages. So we have a lot of our customers that are still attached with these legacy pages. Their processes are designed to use those legacy pages, and when we created resource status, a lot of them ask us not to remove those pages. So we've let them. We still plan to have them in the software. We will let them for those who want to use them. What we've done for this 21.10 is that, if you want to use those legacy pages, there is no reason for us to redirect you always on the resource status page. So what we've done is that if you decide to use those legacy pages, and the links that we have here and there will all redirect also to those legacy pages. So for instance, in the top counter, but it can be the same for widgets or maps or anything, then if you click on them, then you will be redirected to the legacy pages. I strongly recommend you to use the resource pages, the resource status page, because it is where you have we are adding a lot of value each version. So you have a lot of things now in this page, and you will have more along the time. At each version, you will have new stuff. So if you want to switch to resource status page, so you just have to go into your profile and check this checkbox, and then you are back to resource status page configuration. So now if I click here, so you can see that I'm more direct to the resource status page instead of the legacy one.
All right.
Okay. So the main new thing of this 21.10 for data visualization is a complete rework of the search experience. So what we've done is that we made a much more compact view of the search experience. So in order for you to be able to visualize as many resources as possible in the listing. So now it's a real compact view. We've redesigned the pop-in for you to set criteria, search criteria. So now it's better looking and more convenient. So you can select any filters that you want to apply on your page. I will choose randomly some. And well, what is important to notice is that you have a exact similarity between what is in the text box here in the search text box and what you have in this pop-in. Each time you add a criteria here, it will be reflected there. So yeah, so one of the biggest new features that we have in 21.10 is we really wanted to make it easier for you to make some filters to personalize your view, your resource status view. So we have added this auto completion feature. So it means that for all filter criteria, you just have to type a letter. For example, if I go back, well, status or state, you have all of those, and you have just pressure on tab to print it on the search bar, and after that you have all the possible values that are also displayed. So you can. It's very easy now to make a filters. If you are not happy with that, if you want to add some filters, then you can add them here the way you want. Edge theme, for instance, central. I'm not really sure it will give some results. Yeah. So and well, it's very easy and very fast to make those filters. Something which is not new in 21.10, but I will be happy to make emphasis on would be that once you have those filters, it's very easy for you to save them and to reuse them in the future. So if you have some views that you are really that are really useful for you, then you can save your filter. I think I did that this morning. And then you will find all your filters, your custom filters here. So you are one click away to have the view that suits you or suit your need at one point of time. You have those default filters, handle problem, resource problems, and on all resources that are here by default. And after that, you can add as many filters as you want. Another thing that is not new to the 21.10, but well, some people don't know about it, is that all the filters and their value are present in the URL. So if you have one colleague you want to share a view with, then you just have to copy this URL in the URL bar of your browser. You just share it through email, Slack, whatever, and then you will have exactly the same view as you, and see exactly the same resources as you see as well.
Good.
Good. Okay, so yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention is that we've worked also on the selection of resources. So we can now, with one click, select all resources which are not OK status, for instance. You can also use this Shift K on your keyboard and then select several resources at once. This is especially useful for action like acknowledgement. One also small new thing with acknowledgement is that we add those two parameters, persistent and sticky. So they will take the default values that you've configured, but if ever you want to change them, then you can change them directly when you acknowledge the resource. Okay. So we also made a few changes in the detail panel. So once again, in order for you to have the view that is more convenient or suit you best, you can rearrange those styles the way you want. So if you are more interested to have the comment first, then you can put it first, or you can basically rearrange all the types the way you want, the way that it's more convenient for you. We also worked on the, oh, it's a shame it's not a good one, but anyway, we worked on the timeline. So we've redesigned the tile, we're redesigned the logo here. We changed the dates, so it's now relative dates. So you have today, yesterday, last week. So there is no last week event, but yeah. So in order for you to make it very straightforward to get to the info that you want. So we get a new one because we made also. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I left one with maybe more event in the timeline. So do that, and I have more. Yeah. So we've changed also, so you can browse all the events that you want, and we also add this jump to top in order to get at the top of the list. And I don't know if you've seen it, but you have a refresh of those pages. So if you have new events that came during the time you were browsing, so you will see them here. Yeah, so you can still access the hosts related to. I will try to find one with host group. Up. Let's see, I can go very fast. I know. Sounds long. All right. Okay. So we've reworked also this new chip of host group. So now if you click on it, then it will be added to the filter. Another thing that we've done is that it used to be, so you have here in the host detail page, you have the list of services that are attached to this host.
Yeah.
So in the past, there was an icon to switch from this view, which is output, to the graph view. It was not so obvious for our customers. So what we've done is that we have created a dedicated tab for graphs, service graphs. So which is also responsive. You can display as many graphs as you want. And we've also worked a bit on the performances here, because we are not so much on Chrome, but on Chrome there are some enhancements, but especially on Firefox, where the graph once out of twice they were not displayed at all. So we've worked on that as well. So you should not have any problem if you use Firefox as well. And one also a small feature that we add is that, well, in that view, you do not have all the capacities that you have in the performance graph page. So especially if you want to put in parallel some services from different hosts and things like that. So what we've done is that we've put a shortcut here, and then you will be redirected to the performance page, on which and you can add new graphs, or you can split graphs to get all the metrics one by one and visualize their thresholds and things like that. So it's one click away from resource statue. It will keep the period that you're watching. So if you're watching the metrics for 1 week, when you will switch to the performance page, it will still be for 1 week, and you can still, now you can dig more in details into the potential problems. So that was all for this part. So I will try to stop sharing, but I'm not really sure I will.
Here we are.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you for this demo. You had the last topic, which is about MAP.
So it's not exactly a 21.10 topic, because it was not released in 21.10. Our objective is to release that in 22.04.
Yeah.
The spring version. But yeah, during this time, we are working on completely rework our map product. So you all know that today map is divided in two. So you have the viewer on the web interface, the server here, and you have the client, editor client, which is still a desktop client that you have to install on your desktop. So we completely changed that. So now everything will be on the web interface. The editor and the viewer will be on the web interface. So if you are familiar with that, it's based on the Draw.io library. And yeah, so our goal here is, well, no more desktop client to manage, no more don't need to bother anymore with, I don't know, updates of the client on your laptop, or or network configuration to reach the map server or things like that. Everything will be self-contained in the web interface. In terms of performances also, there will be drastically improvement on that. So we know that on map we have a lot of problems with performances. So this will be on the past with this new version. And of course, all the maps that you've created with the former version of map will be preserved when migrating to the map web version. Well, it's a migration process. You have one key to press and everything will be migrated, and you can edit them or create new one or whatever you want. Yeah, of course, the software stack will be way easier to maintain for us, and it will be way easier for us to make it evolve. So you can expect to have much more new features on map in the next months that you had in the last years. So yeah, we have, so the 21.10 was the occasion for us to release our map web in beta version. So we are still finalizing some details in order to make it available for our beta tester. In the meantime, if you are interested in this product, then you can register on the watch again. There is a private group on which you can register, and you will be able to test it as an avant-premiere on the beta version.
Very promising. Are waiting to see that and demonstrate that. So thank you all for your presentations. We are now reaching the end of this webinar and the question and answer. So I will go through the questions. I have two questions for Laurent. One is about Debian, and will we have a procedure to migrate from CentOS to Debian? Is my first question.
Procedure.
How will you help,
yes.
I guess,
When
user to migrate from CentOS to Debian?
Yes, when we release officially Debian packages, of course, we will update documentation to explain how to migrate. So we have already a chapter to explain how to migrate from CentOS 7 to 8, and you will have a new chapter how to migrate from CentOS to Debian.
All right, so that will be part of the documentation
Exactly.
when it's all fully available and supported. Great. And another question is, why Debian and not Ubuntu or OpenSUSE?
In 1 year ago, we used to make a study, which is to know if Centrion will add another operating system for packaging. So we used to compare Debian, Ubuntu, SUSE, OpenSUSE, and other operating system. But we also check if how is the difficulty for Centrion to react to the operating system to be compatible with the operating system. So we make a study, and at the end we choose Debian 11 and not OpenSUSE, because we consider that it's more we will have more new customers with Debian. And why not Ubuntu? We are thinking if we make package for Debian, of course, for the next version of Ubuntu will be based on Debian 11. It will be compatible. So at the end, Deb packages will be for both.
Okay. All right. Clear. The next question is for Niels. This is about the resource status. The first question is, do you have a plan in your roadmap to add the business activities in resource status?
Yes. So of course, so resource status, our strategy with resource status is to have one unified view where you can have all your monitoring information in one place. So of course, the business activity is the one missing here. So we have planned to integrate that. It should be for the 22.04, but before that, we want really to make sure that we are doing the right thing in terms of usability, in terms of user experience, in terms of performances. So the answer is yes, but
okay,
more to come.
All right. While you were demonstrating the new search bar with this fancy query language, there was a question, which is it possible to still search in the information field.
Yes. So you can still enter some free text in the search bar, and there you will search in a few fields like resource name or service description, alias, and things like that. We have decided to remove information or output or detailed information, call it the way you want, from this because we had some performance concern about it. So when you enter free text, it will not search automatically on the information. But of course, you can explicitly add the information filter. So just type an I, and you will have information suggested for you, and then you can type whatever you want, and it will search in the information field.
All right. So it is possible, but it's not free text search. You have
It's
still
not
to have-
free text.
Yeah,
you have to specify that you want
Yeah.
to search things into the information field. Yeah.
and the field is called information, but because you have this autocomplete, just
Yeah,
typing
just-
I will autocomplete
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
information, and then you put your
So it would
your
be
free text.
basically type I tab and then whatever you want. and
free
it
text
should
and
be-
it will search.
and it's fine. Yeah.
All right, very good. We're almost at the end. I still have one question. If you have question, it's still time to ask them. The last question is for me. Actually, it's a commercial question. It's about MAP, which commercial edition includes MAP. So we have the IT edition and business edition. This is our two commercial editions, and MAP is part of a business edition. So IT edition is the same as the open source, but you get contract and maintenance support. Contract for maintenance and support, and you get auto discovery engine, and you get all the plugin packs. And business editions adds the MAP capabilities, as well as the business activities and the reporting capabilities. And they are both based on subscriptions, yearly subscriptions. All right, no more question. Yes, no question. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Happy testing and deploying of 21.10, and happy end of the year, happy Christmas, happy New Year to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.